Hello guys, how are you doing? Let me trust you're doing good. Welcome once again to this video. Today, we shall have a very much discussion about the laptop motherboards. There are so many things you need to understand about the motherboard. A motherboard is not just a simple component. It contains several circuits in it, several components in it, which does some specific roles. Yes, that's why it's good to understand each and every component within it, so that whenever you are doing the diagnosis or whenever you are doing the troubleshooting, you will be able to narrow down the problems since you understand each and every role of every component. It might not be every component, but major components within the motherboard. First of all, I need you to understand that each and every motherboard contains a specific number called the part number of the motherboard. Each motherboard contains the part number. For example, this one. So this is the motherboard for Lenovo. This is the motherboard for Lenovo 10 T480S. As you can see here, it contains a part number. So this is the part number for this motherboard. AIMT1 NM Ivan A301 Ref 1.0 2014 10th of 28. So that's the part number for this motherboard. Each and every laptop motherboard contains a part number. So this part number, it gives unique identification of this motherboard, so that whenever you have a corrupt firmware, maybe BIOS is corrupted or the EC is corrupt, you'll be using this unique part number to download a file for the firmware from the online. Yes. For example, I can show you. There's another motherboard here. Yes, this motherboard is for HP 1040 1030G4. As you can see, this is the part number for this motherboard, DAYOPAMBAF Rev F. So this is the part number for that motherboard. Yes, each and every motherboard. I think I have another one here too. Uh, Here is another motherboard. Yes, let's see. It also contains a part number. This is the part number for this motherboard, DAX, that 8CMB AG0 Rev G. Yes, that's the part number. You can see. So this is the unique number for this motherboard. So whenever you have a firmware corrupted, you can use that part number to download the BIOS or to download the EC file. So let's go directly for other discussions for today. Each and every motherboard still contains what's called the CPU. The CPU is the central processing unit of a laptop motherboard. It is responsible for doing all the arithmetic, logic, all the processing of data within the motherboard. It is done within the CPU. Inside this heatsink, this is the heatsink which allows the cooling system of a laptop motherboard. It is connected to a fan. So this is the fan which spins to allow air circulation within the motherboard, within the laptop. When your laptop is on, it might overheat. That's why you need a cooling system. Inside here, you have the processor. That's why it is enclosed for protection and for cooling inside this heatsink. So other than the CPU, we have other components which serves the CPU. Since the CPU is the central processing unit of a laptop motherboard, we have other components which are responsible for ensuring that CPU gets all the data, all the signals, and all the power needed for it to operate normally. So some of those components, we have the power components, that's power control components. We have the data control components, you have storage components, and so on and so on. As for this one, you have the CPU. Other than the CPU, we have its own memory. Each CPU contains a memory, and that memory is what's called the RAM. This one, here is the RAM. This is the RAM stick. So you remove this one. This is the RAM stick for this laptop. So this is the RAM. Other than this RAM stick, we also sometimes you have a motherboard which contains the onboard RAM. So these chips, these are the onboard RAM of this CPU of this motherboard. Yes, so this one can either you can upgrade by increasing the capacity of this RAM. Yes, that will add up the capacity of this onboard RAM. This onboard RAM it's hard to replace or hard to upgrade because these chips, in fact, you can see these chips are sealed. So this one you cannot upgrade. This one you cannot upgrade. It's non-upgradable, but you can upgrade this one because it's just a matter of removing this RAM stick and replacing it with the higher one of higher speed and performance. So let's have a look at these components within the motherboard. Some of these components are labeled with symbols. They have symbols. That's why I'm going to show you what are the symbols of specific components. For example, an IC. ICs and chipsets, they are labeled with a simple letter U. When you see a U, for example, this one, I don't know whether you will see here. Here is labeled U74. So let me just read for you. This U74 is for this one. So this is IC U number 74 for this chip. This is U75. This is U76, U77. So whenever you see letter U, it means that component is an IC. This is U49. U49, sorry, this is U49. U49 is a BIOS chip in this motherboard. Yes, it cannot be U49 in whole motherboards all round. No. For this motherboard, U49 is the BIOS chip. This is the BIOS chip. You have U20. This is the BD controller IC. You have U32. This is another controller IC. You have, this is U23. This is for this IC. U65. This one is U39. Yes. So whenever you see letter U, it means that is an IC. So U for IC. Apart from letter U, we have a component labeled Q. For example, this one, this is written Q16. This is written Q17. This is written Q35. So this components label Q, this is a MOSFET. A MOSFET is a special transistor which is responsible for switching power from one point to the other. As you can see, this one is Q35. Yes, most components, this one is Q35. How can we have U35, Q35, two of them? Okay, because these are for power. Then you have Q145, Q9, yes, Q7. So all of the, even these tiny ones, still these are MOSFET, special transistors. So whenever you see letter Q, that means that is a MOSFET. That's a MOSFET. So these ones, yes. Apart from that, we have component label R. From the word R, we'll get from the word resistor, we'll get letter R. So this is resistor. Whenever you see a component label R, it means that is a resistor. So let's have a look at some of the example. Here is another one, R728 for this one. Apart from that, we have several of them. There are so many of them. Yes, all the components might not have labels, but we need to know the resistors, the components which are like what we need to know we need to understand which resistor behave like what or have which color. Apart from being labeled, these tiny black components, we have several tiny black components. They are also resistors. However, they don't have the labeling, so you just need to know these are the resistors. Apart from R for resistors, as you can see, this one still is a MOSFET because these are Q69, Q94. Yes. Apart from R and Q and U, we have what's called diodes. Diodes are labeled D. As you can see, this one is labeled D. Yes. Diodes are labeled D. Whenever you see letter D, it means that's a diode. So this is D14. This is a diode number 14. D39. This is a diode 39. And still, guys, let's go back a little bit. When you see U, we say it's an IC. When it has a letter P before U, that's PU. It means that's a power IC. For example, this one. This one you have PU1. PU1. it means this power IC number 1. As you can see, this one is the BQ, it's also a charging IC which control phase 1 power supply. So this is PU1, this is a power IC number 1. Whenever it's just label U, it means that's an IC, probably not necessarily a power IC. It could be the sound IC, audio, and so on and so on. You have U54, so this one which is responsible for controlling the USB ports, that's UIC. Yes, so whenever you see U, that's IC. PU, power IC. D, diode. PD, power diode. Q, MOSFET. BQ, power MOSFET. Right? Yes, let me trust your understanding. Then, apart from the D, we have F. F is a component which is called fuse. Yes, a fuse is labeled F. When it has BF, that's a power fuse. Yes, so this is F10, it's a power fuse 10. Whenever you have any other fuse inside, you will see that it is labeled with another number. If this, for example, this one, I have a very tiny fuse here. This is F17, F19. So these are just fuses. So these are F10. There are so many. In Lenovo motherboards, they use so many fuses for protections. F23, F25, sorry, F7, F3. They're tiny and small. So let me trust you are able to see them. So F for the fuse. So whenever you see F, you need to know there's a fuse. This is F12, fuse 12. Yes. F9, this is fuse 9. And so many others. So we have several fuses within the motherboard. Apart from the fuses, we also have what's called capacitors. Yes, capacitors are labeled C. Whenever you see a C, it means that's a capacitor. I don't know. I don't see any label for capacitors here. Maybe they saw it not necessary to have those labels, but these are the capacitors. So maybe this one we will have had maybe C19, C25. So it means we have capacitor number 25, capacitor number 26, capacitor number 27, capacitor. So that's why you have C27, C30, C31, C8. So, and we have several of them. You have this ceramic capacitor, we have a tantalum capacitors, and you have chemical capacitors. All of them, however, are labeled C. Yes, they don't differentiate between the chemical capacitor and ceramic capacitor. They just label them C. So whenever you see a C, it means that's a capacitor. Apart from those, we have also the connectors. The connectors are labeled J. Whenever you see a J, it means that's a connector. This is J46. It means that's a connector 46. This is J16. It means is this is what? This is connector 16. Yes. And we have so many others. Then apart from those, we have components which are labeled L. L is for inductors. And inductors could be stacked inductors like these ones. So these are stacked inductors. These ones. It could be thin film inductor. So this motherboard doesn't have the thin film inductor. Maybe we have them in another motherboard. Let me check whether we have thin film inductor here. So this one, I don't see thin film inductor. Okay, yes, I see one. Thin film inductor are these components. It's black, or it could be black or grayish in the middle. So that is thin film inductor. Where is another one? We don't have so many, or it is in the other side. Yes, I am not seeing any at this side. So this one contains less inductors. What about this other one? This other one still, yes, I have so many of them. Yeah, the thin film inductors. As you can see, they are grayish. Those are thin film inductors. This other side, Do we see any? I'm not seeing any, and they said maybe they are less or they are more in this other side. Anyway, let me trust at least you are able to identify those. Yes. So apart from the thin film inductors, we have other things which are not labeled like this one. As you can see, these tracks, these very tiny tracks here, you can see so many of them. So these are signal lines or signal pathways and voltage pathways. The smaller the lines they are like this ones, it means either they transmit signals or a very small amount of voltages. But when you have a big tracks, when you have big tracks like this one for example, it means the main line which carries main voltage. So here you'll have a main line which is 19. You have a main line which is 19. Yes, you can see this one. So there's the main power line. Yes. Whenever you see a big track, it means that's the main power line. Yes, this green, more greenish part is the ground. Yes. If it's somehow bigger, it means that's more. So the smaller they are, like this one, the small amount of voltage or a signal which are transported there. In case it is somehow bigger, that's a bigger voltage line. Yes. So depending on the amount of voltage, current which pass through there, uh, it determines the line which uses it. So apart from all those components, we have very tiny components like these ones. These are very tiny capacitors. These tiny capacitors and resistors, they are not necessarily for protection as for capacitors or yes, most of these tiny components, most of them are for data transmission. Yes, they help in transmissions of data. That's why whenever those components have an issue, you must replace them. You must replace it. Unlike big capacitors like this one, for example, these have so many and are placed parallel along the power line. In case one of them is shorted, you can just remove it and you will have no more big problems with your motherboard. However, these tiny ones, these very tiny ones, very small ones, if you remove them without replacing them, there are certain signal will be missing inside the CPU. Yes. So apart from that, there are special things I forgot to mention, like this one, this card here. This is a wireless card. It helps in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, wireless connectivity. So whenever you're experiencing the problem with Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi connection, this could be an issue. It can either mean this is the problem or the connector is the problem, this slot for this card, or the circuit which supplies this with power and signals have an issue. That here, you have another connector here. This is a dock station connector. Yes, it helps you to connect the dock station here. Yes, maybe you have external, for example, that table used by the DJs. Yes, it's connected through here. So this is the dock station for that. Yes, so this is the power port connector. You have the screen connector for display. Yes, and as you can see, each connector it serves by you can see there's some signal lines connecting to the RAM. And the RAM still is directly connected to the CPU. So that's why you need to be careful whenever you're handling these components. They are all connected to the CPU in one way or the other. As you can see, several circuits, several of them running either through from the CPU to some components or from those components to the CPU. That's why each and everything, be it the power, be it the signals, it lands at the CPU. Yes, all of them, despite where it started, all of those signals end up at the what? And ends up at the CPU. So let's see this other motherboard. Let's have a very little discussion about this one. As you can see, this one contains the onboard RAM. This is the onboard RAM. These are the onboard chips. So this one will be labeled letter U. This is U, maybe U10, U11, U12, U13, U14, U15, U16. So they are given number. They are given number accordingly. So these are the VRAMs. So this is could be a VRAM 1, VRAM 2. Maybe they are written VR1, VR2. They're meant for this chipset. So this is the GPU chipset. This is the CPU processor chipset, and this is the PCH chipset. Yes. So the chipsets and the IC are labeled U. They all label U. The MOSFETs, be it the dual MOSFETs or the FIAR MOSFETs, all are labeled Q, as we said earlier. So these are the U. Yes. For the ICs, if it is the power IC, it will be labeled PU, or they might not label PU, but just U. So you need to differentiate each and every component. The reason we are being given those labels, let's go back a little bit to this other motherboard. There's something maybe I forgot to mention. I forgot to mention about the diodes and MOSFETs. There is majorly more reasons for us for them to have those symbols or labeling. It's for the sake of these tiny components. There was some components I like us to discuss about. I don't know where is it. A certain component. I saw it somewhere. Yes, here they are. I don't know whether you can see this tiny component here. This component is labeled Q147. Q147, and this one is labeled D14. Oh, let's use this one. This one is Q59 and D14. The two of them are very similar, and they are equal. However, this one is a diode, this one is a MOSFET. Yes, so the major reason they do this so that you will be able to differentiate between the MOSFET and what? And a diode. So that when you want to replace a very tiny ones, so I don't know how can I place it very closer to you. So this one is yes. So this one is a diode, this one is a MOSFET. So guys, you need to know to understand those symbols so that you don't mix up replacing components. This one, for example, this is a diode. This is a diode. This is a MOSFET. Yes, you might have an IC like this one and a diode like this one. So you will not be able to differentiate which one is an IC, which one is a MOSFET. Right? Yes. So thank you so much, guys. And we have so many other things. We have the battery connector, you have the CMOS and the CMOS connector. What else? Anyway, we will learn a lot as we go ahead. That's why I'm requesting you please subscribe so that you don't miss any of our tutorials. We shall be sharing a lot of content about the laptop repairs, be it the theory, be it the practical, all of them we'll be sharing here in our YouTube channel. Soon we are having a plan to be conducting online classes. So in case we start that, I'll let you know so that whenever you're interested and you're far away, you can enroll to online classes. Then we will be able to move on together as a family. So please, let's grow this family together, and see you in the next video. Please subscribe and share with your friends. Goodbye.